Welcome to Parenting and Presence. Today with us, we have a wonderful person, a constant learner, a mother of 8-year-old, GK Sowparnika. Sowparnika is an engineer turned educator who has been in the field of education over the last 11 years. She has been a reading mentor in schools in the US and later she moved to India. Now she is a sustainability and climate change educator in Irish schools, facilitating in the primary grades. Thank you for joining with us in the show, Sowparnika.
Hello, Kritika. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Since I spoke about your journey from being an engineer to an educator, I want you to throw some light on the audience on career shifting because career shifting, though it is very common in the Western countries, it's still questionable in our regions. Can you please show some light on it?
Like everybody who graduated in 2000s, even me, I took my engineering without knowing why we need to take engineering. So we still have the shepherd mentality, and it has its own pros and cons, and there are a lot more cons than pros in that shepherd mentality. When I graduated and when I did my engineering, I had a very good college experience. The 4 years I had lots of fun, rather than I didn't see myself learning the technicalities of engineering in depth. But later, when I landed in my first job, I understood how these engineering principles worked in my first job. And as soon as I sat in that corporate desk, doing my 8 to 5 job, I realized that this is not my cup of tea, and that this is not giving me joy. This is not giving me that soul satisfaction. And slowly I started searching. Okay, I made a mistake. Now I'm not able to sit in this corporate industry. What next? I started searching my own job calling, and that's when I found out. Okay, I started experimenting with different things before landing into teaching. I started experimenting with other avenues, like going for master's degree in engineering, or because I was not confident with my undergraduate. So I thought, okay, probably if I upskill my education, I will have that confidence. But I then realized, when looking at my master's module, I realized that these are not interesting me. It is, some people, when you talk about science, their eyes light, and they go very geeky. But I realized that no, I'm not that kind of a person. And slowly when I started getting opportunities into different things, teaching came into in my own way. I did volunteering in the schools in Chicago in United States. My mom is a teacher. My grandfather is was a professor. I was very clear when I was at the age of 16 that I should not land into teaching because it was very stereotypical. Even now, okay, you are a teacher, and it is not given its value. Though people say in a sugar coated way that teaching is a noble profession, still throughout the world it is not recognized as a noble profession. It's all lip sync and it's all sugar coated only. I had that stereotype in my mind that no, this is some kind of a very normal or a very average person who does teaching. But when I entered the school and when I started seeing people who are very passionate in teaching, because in the States I met a teacher who was extremely passionate. She had a very meager income in terms of finances. Teachers are paid very low in the United States, but still the amount of heart, blood, and soul that she gave for her profession, it inspired me. So slowly I started breaking my own stereotypes, that no, this is a profession that requires a lot of responsibility. And people who are thinking to have a career shift to education, it's not easy to become a teacher. It's, you have to be very extremely responsible. And you can think that okay, it's a very easy job where work life balance can be met easily. That is there, but still there has to be a lot of planning, there has to be a lot of understanding behind this work. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot more than any other engineering or IT job. So that also kindled me. I was working continuously, I was working, and I was working from my soul. And I realized that understanding about how learning happens, that ignited my soul. And that made me concretize that, okay, this is my path, and let me not deviate from this path anymore. So that's the shift from engineering to educator here.
Thank you, Savya. I could resonate with you a lot because I was also a same person who used to think, oh my God, I would do whatever in my life other than teaching. And when teaching landed up to me in my early 20s, I had to work as a lecturer in few of the institutes for master's program. That fascinated me, and it was just like fun to be around the young generation and things like that. They were like almost juniors to me, a year or two juniors to me, but that gave like a fun thing, but I never took it seriously. But when I became a parent myself, and when I started living around the teachers, I felt that it was the most inspiring, noble, and responsible profession, as it is sugar coated. But really, it is, and that is when I started, my courses. Thank you so much for your story. And can you please share about your first teaching experience in the US where you volunteered?
It's very personal, but I still have that emotion in my heart. And thank you for asking this question, because I've undergone many interviews in my career, and I say this every single time. And whenever I say this, it comes from my heart. So when I went to the school, it was a very socioeconomically behind school. So that's when volunteers step in there, because the school won't have funding for extra hand. So as a volunteer, I stepped in to help the teacher, because the students were from a very backward socio-economical demography, and they didn't have exposure also. Like, the parents were also not very quite supportive for the children. Many of them had very supporting parents, but quite a few of them did not have a supporting parenting. So when I stepped in, I was allocated to a particular child, and he was very smart. He was very smart in articulating, he was very smart in thinking, and everything was there. But he had ADHD. He was very hyper, and he used to run around here and there. And I was taken aback in the moment. Okay, what is this? What's happening around me? I was a bit taken aback. And then the teacher, she comforted me. She just said, "You don't need to do anything. Just when I take the class, sit with him. If possible, make him sit on your lap. That will comfort him," is what she said. I thought, okay, because she was easing my job, because it was quite too much for me at that point of time. At that age, I was just married, and I didn't have any child, or I didn't know how to handle it. So I did that. It was magical. Like, the child was very hyper, and when he came and when he sat on my lap, he was completely calmed down, and he was able to listen. He was able to answer. All that he wanted was love, and which he did not have in his I mean which he had in his home. He had his grandparents, he had that support, but still there was something missing in his home, which was not given by their parents. So when he got it from another person in the school, it really made a huge difference in his own thinking, in his own learning. And that was the moment. Okay, if I'm able to make, with very simple, just if I'm just able to sit beside a child, and that makes a difference in a life of a child, then okay, this is what I'm going to do. So that's how it started. Slowly, slowly, then I started learning, then I started how to handle kids, and then I started how to teach them everything by shadowing, we call. So the teacher used to teach, and I used to shadow her, and I used to learn from her way of teaching through observation. And then I used to have a separate desk for myself, and I used to gather 5 kids will come to me, and they will learn with me. So it started from there, and the amount of difference it made to the kids, it was very visible. That's the huge difference in an engineering job, in an IT sector. The changes that we make, or the development that we do internally, it will be visible at that moment itself. and that will drive you for the next day. For example, in engineering, we do projects that will be reflecting in 2 years time. For that 2 years we have to just scratch our head and see, okay, what am I doing, and okay, it is just going to happen in the next 2 year. And even if it happens in that after 2 years time, we won't have that feeling, okay, I've done this, this is my brainchild. We might not have it. But here, every single moment you will see that you are impacting a life. Every single moment it will be visible, that will be fueling us throughout. So the first day, it's still fresh in my, that the way that he sat in my lap. Since the children were from a very different background, their way of dressing, everything was very moderate and modest. And that was also skeptical to me. Even though we come from India, we come from a quite leveled up background, I would say, from from other people. It was all breaking my eyes again. Okay, and then it's just seeing inside the heart of a young person, just removing all the curtains. And okay, removing all the curtain, that he is dressed up differently or he is from a different background, all that you have to break all those eyes and see in his heart. And when that happened, when that connection happened between me and that child, then everything was it fell in place slowly, slowly, slowly. And that was the moment when I was not even a mother. It was just after my marriage, and that inspired me to step into my parenting journey also.
Thanks for sharing your personal experience. I think it would give a clarity to a lot of people to understand what it is to do a career shift and how to understand whether it is the right thing for me. Because the smile in your face just gave the answer. Yeah. Thank you for that, Saparnika. And my next question is then, for your personal reasons, you moved to India, and in India, you started working in a school. How did the shift happen? Because the lifestyle, the socio-economical status, and everything would be different,
Yeah.
and it would be different in India. How did you bridge the gaps? What were the challenges you faced? How did you proceed with your career in India?
uh, Initially, yeah, it was COVID time, and I applied for a job, and I had to wait for a very long time, and then I applied for several jobs, and I got a job in a very nice international school. I'm saying very nice because it was really very nice. It resonated with my own personality. The school, the culture shift was definitely there. The work culture shift was definitely there. The way people work, the way teachers work in the States is different, and the way teachers work in India is different in every single school in India. So in India, since there are many private schools, every school has its own culture. So when we are applying for a job in a school, we have, even though when I go back from now, when I think of going back to India, when I apply for another school, it will be like starting from scratch in that school, because every school will have its own culture, its own learning model. Everything will be different, and we can't go with a hat saying that I'm having these many years of experience, so all that. People will treat you well, but still you have to unlearn a lot of things and relearn based on their own culture and everything. So that I felt a bit challenging, because I had a very open culture in the States, and everything was very systematic in the States, and all that we need to do was execute and teach with our passion. But in India, we need to take care a lot of things. It was a flourishing school, and we need to build that systems there in the school, and I need to understand how the school worked, everything, how people worked in the school, everything. The work culture was quite challenging in India. And then once I got adapted to that work culture, things flowed. And the school that I was working was into Waldorf model and philosophy, and it was largely into outdoor learning and green education. We had a farm. Children, I used to take most, if I feel that the children were very restless and they were up in the air, immediately I used to take them for a walk outside, and that would completely settle in. So we had that luxury, and I think we are blessed in India to have that luxury. We need not have a farm. The school need not have a farm. They need to just walk outside the school, and it's just that's enough. So, but here in countries like Europe, we need to take care of the weather. We need to wear a jacket, boots, blah 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 blah. All that will be a mind block. But in India, we just need to walk out, and we are blessed. So we explored a lot of learning methods in the school that I worked in India. And as a group, as a team, also, we were very giving and taking. So my expertise in the US, it was used very well, and I was learning a lot from different people, from my mentors in the school, and it was a very nice team. And what you give, you get. So there will be, since it's a women dominant industry, education itself is a women dominant industry, you have to understand different things. So that career shift from engineering to teaching, that also was quite challenging, because in engineering, in corporate, it's male dominant. In education, at least in schools, I'm not talking about the overall systemic education, but when we scale down to schools, it's predominantly women dominant. So that is also a huge culture shift, and how a group of women work. What are all the pros? What are all the cons? We need to navigate through that. And in the states, it'll be balanced. It is still women dominant, but there will be a handful of men in the school, which will make a difference. So all that was quite a challenge. And the one thing that resonated was the sustainability aspect, the farm, and the outdoor learning to me. So when I took so the teaching learning that I did in my own class, after a point of time, was never micromanaged, or was never observed or even managed by my mentors. Usually they will come observe our classes and give our feedbacks. It's the normal procedure. But once you are very thorough, or once you are very adept in your experiences, I was just left free, and I had that liberty to explore my own avenues and to contribute to that school. So the culture is very important, which school you're working. If it is not matching your personality, it makes a huge difference. And I think that's the reason why many people jump from one school to the other, and many people, why don't it's might be the reason why they don't take this profession too seriously. Every job has its politics, and working with all women has its own politics involved, and it takes some grit and some integrity to sustain your work there.
That's wonderful. So, I just got this question in my mind and I wanted to ask it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
having somebody who had her school education in India and working as a teacher, do you think that you missed some kind of a patterns in your childhood when you were a student?
There were a lot. I still feel, I mean, I should have born now, you know. Every time when I teach, I still feel, yeah, I feel glad that at least our young generation, our kids are having this kind of experiential and active learning model, which we did not have when we had a rote learning model. It was all lecture based, and we had to. It was all test of memory. But having said that, I don't want to demean that model also, because that active learning can 100% happen in a rote learning model. Uh, what it is how you own your learning is called active learning. So in a rote learning model, if you are able to conceptualize whatever is taught in that lecture, and if you're able to constantly think about what is taught, if your brain is active and it's constantly learning in that lecture model, then fine. But unfortunately, it will not happen for all the 60 kids who are sitting there. Probably one or two. It won't last for that entire 45 minutes at all. It's a model that is failed. That's why we have moved to a different model now. So we never had that deeper learning. It was all shallow, and we all touched based on different vast concepts, but we just touched based on that. We didn't go deep into that. Even in engineering, when we selected one particular subject and when we selected one particular branch in engineering, it was still rote learning. There we were taught many concepts. Even we had practical laboratories or whatever it is, we were not taught how to deep dive in that concept. And now when I started doing my masters, when I did my med in a different country, I don't blame the country again, but at this point of time when somebody is doing their education, I think it's a good time, because I see the learning model has changed. Teaching and learning model has changed throughout the world. Rote learning is slowly fading, and the people are teaching based on assessment based learning, or very different and engaging styles of learning, where the learning actually happens in a very very deeper way, which is what is required. When in my job right now, I have to teach sustainability through STEM education, through science and technology. So I'm actually now going back to my engineering concepts and learning it again in Khan Academy or wherever. So I'm deep learning now only, which is a pity. I should have done this when I was 18. I'm doing this, say, roughly 15, 20 years later. And it's not easy. Your brain is evolved into different things. And I don't find it easy to do that deep learning now. So, yeah, and I'm glad that it's evolved and it is evolving. The field of education, it is evolving. There is a lot of research going on every now and then. And that's one huge thing that's not happening in India. There is, I don't see, or I have not been in touch with many people who are doing education research, but still, I don't, even when I search for research papers, like anything related to education, it's very less when compared to Europe. So here people are funding so much to do an educational research, to invest on people to do an educational research, how people learn. Their models are continuously evolving and we are adapting from them. But that research and analysis should happen in India, is what I completely feel and agree with.
You're very true with the funding and the feasibility we have in Europe with the educational research, which is more important compared to rather than just finishing a research project and getting a job as a professor. It actually means a lot to a lot of people and it could change the way things happen, and that is why researches are conducted. But the purpose of research is not completely understood by the researchers in different countries, which is a very sad thing. And coming to the next question, how did you see the educational system, like in the perspective of the students, with respect to your own child in India and here in Ireland?
The school that I was working in India, it was a. I still vouch for it, so you can still go. I am still branding it. I'm still marketing the school because was an amazing school. And the children who came there to that school, they had a very nice parenting background, and the parents were all, they were very open. Even though we were doing different learning models, we were following Waldorf, we were following Cambridge, we were following green education, outdoor learning. Parents were very open. They were like, give the best, or try to give the best for our child. Give them a lot of experiences, is what even they it was there in their mind, because most of their parents were kind of my age, and at least since their children were in my son's age. My son is 8 years old, so most of the parents were kind of in their mid 30s, or late 30s, or early 40s. So they had that exposure of what like similar to me, how a good education can impact their child. So it was the children were very curious and they wanted to do a lot of things, like everywhere in India, like whatever we do with that, we would do baking, we would do dancing, we would do lot of things, and they had that energy to do everything there. But in Ireland, I would say when it comes to vocalizing, I would say children are a bit shy here. Indian kids, I see that they are vocal. Always their hands are raised when I teach something, be it a 6 year old or be it a 17-year-old. These the young Gen Z, they are very very vocal. They want to share their thoughts. They're very quite in a lecture. They, even though they have their if their ideas or if their points are right or wrong, they simply want to throw it out. They don't have that inhibition that what we had, what I had at least when I was studying. When we were studying, it was like you should raise your hands only if your answer is right. It created something in us. So we have to voice out only we if we are right. Otherwise, we should shut down, and that created a lot of other ripple effects in my own life and in my own career, which I feel is not there in this generation, or it's 90% it's reduced in this generation. They are very vocal, and they are raising their opinions. They are asking a lot of very correct and logical questions. They know that the teacher is always not right. At least they have that understanding. And so that is that I saw in Indian kids and the American kids. But Irish kids, I feel that they are uh, a little bit shy when it comes to vocalizing their thoughts. It's not that they don't have that student agency, they have it, but still they are uh, in the phase that, what if my answer is wrong? I feel that comparison. It is quite evident when I teach in Irish school kids. I have to motivate them a lot. Even the fifth class or sixth class, they're very quiet, and they require a lot of time to break their ice and raise voice out their opinion. Probably it could be because of the region where I'm living in. Yeah, I live in a city called Limerick in Ireland. Probably in cities like Dublin, it has its own mix of children, and they might voice out very well. But this is the one striking difference that I see in children. Apart from this, I think they are all the same. They don't have any inhibitions towards anything. Even here, there are many things associated when somebody else of a different ethnicity, race is coming and teaching them. But they just have the initial shock, like, okay, this is somebody new. And then slowly they just break it. They don't care who you are. They just care if you're connecting. They just care if you're caring for them, if what you're teaching them, all that. With children, it's a very uh, uh, it's their what they see is how we care for them. Just our love is what they see. They don't even care if we are teaching them, at least. No, they want them to be loved. That's all. And that's similar everywhere throughout the world.
It's so nice that despite of the cultural and a lot of geographical difference, the last sentence you said that children are children everywhere. That is so beautiful, and if we understand that, then life is so beautiful with children. And so it was so nice to know your journey as an educator, and now I want you to share your journey as a parent. You have evolved so much working in the field of education, and you would have had a lot of dreams on how you wanted to raise your child. And are you doing that, or have you changed anything? So you would have had a dream that I want to do this to my child, and when it came to the practical life, you would have automatically evolved. So can
Yes.
you share some experiences on that?
Sure, definitely. So when I was pregnant, I went to a pregnancy class in India, in my own town. It was a wonderful class. It was a lot of eye-opening things happened there. How to raise a child. Everything I started learning from there. And when they used flash. So one of the techniques was using flashcards. Still use it for children, in schools and all. And I was told to show flashcards to my own son after he was born, from the age of 3 months or 2 months. When I started showing him those flashcards when he was 3 months, or he started crying. He didn't. I felt that he didn't like it. So I stopped the frequency. I was asked to show the flashcards every time, like morning one time and afternoon one time and evening one time. I think there was a frequency, and I reduced the frequency. Because he was not enjoying it. I felt it, and I reduced the frequency. And later, when he was 1 years and 2 year old, I still have those flashcard bundles. I bought it for nearly 10,000 rupees, and I still have it untouched, unopened. And I'm thinking to give it to somebody who really uses it well, because it's over. I realized that it was overstimulating him. It was not something that he wanted. He wanted a lot of play. He wanted a lot of cuddle. He just wanted to explore things by himself in his own pace, is what I realized after many trial and errors. So there could be a lot of things. People, I underwent parenting training, and Instagram or Facebook was very prevalent when I was pregnant. Many information from Facebook, everything, during my pregnancy phase, I fed myself in. And when my child was born, I realized that, okay, many things are not at all working out. Whatever I learned, it is not working out with my own child. So I stopped it. I completely stopped flashcards when he was 2 years, or, I just told myself, okay, he's not enjoying, so there is no point. And I left it, okay, let him read in his own, because flashcards were mainly for reading and mathematics. It had words, and pictures and words. It was early stimulation. And when I started understanding about Waldorf training and Waldorf education, and when we did a lot of Waldorf education, it is all about age appropriateness and no reading before 7, or all that. When all that started feeding in, and I thought, okay, I made a good decision only. I did not do that. Guilt in me was completely went off, because in Waldorf education, we don't they don't encourage to do certain things at that particular age, bit better than me now. So I started following a bit of world of parenting. I started following a bit of our own traditional, um, uh, you know uh, religious and cultural way of parenting, and listening to here and there. And now I feel that, whatever style or whatever I did, uh, what worked and what did not work was when I start controlling him. He will never like it. He will say that it was always a continuous rebel. When I start controlling certain aspects of his behavior, he will never ever like. And I stopped doing that. Okay, he's like, it is a huge thing as a parent, because as a parent, we want is for our child to be safe and healthy and happy. And for that, we discipline them in different ways as we can. We have our own way of disciplining them so that they are safe and happy. And if that way of discipline goes beyond his level, he will show through his emotions in different ways of emotion. It could be just a small rebel, or it could be just saying no. We need to understand those cues. That's what I learned. Okay, now he is this is the start of his point of reciprocation, so let us stop it here. I started understanding. And when I started following his way of free spirited living, our entire life, when you see now, it is based on not making him discipline, rather than he is following a free spirited life. Let us also try to follow that. So we started following his way of free spirited life, and it became very easy. And it's easy when we are alone, and when our influences are less. I found it very easy to follow a very free spirited way of living without influences. Whatever our heart says, let's do that. And all that is easy. when we are just, it's just me, my husband, and my child. When we have a huge number of influence around us, it was very, very challenging. And we had to, it, I don't know how I will handle further when I have so many influences around me who is trying to constantly say or throw their inputs or have their judgments or whatever. It's easy when we are alone. And if we don't have that opportunity to be alone, we have to find other ways. But if we have that opportunity to be alone, we can explore. It has its disadvantages also. We When we are alone, we explore ourselves more, and we explore our free spirited way of living more. But when we are together, we explore it together. We have that support system will be there, and we have that bonding or connection with everybody or whatever. But when we are alone, we will do it in our own pace and in our own time frame, is what I feel. So yeah, we I'm now following a very free spirited, okay, whatever his spirit says, whatever he feels like doing. Because in a school, it's a routine. It's a set routine. They follow a set timetable, and it's very task oriented, and it's very, very routine oriented, and it's very disciplined in school. And when children come back from school to home, they want to free themselves from the routine. They want to do that. They don't want a routine. They want to just be free and relaxed and not giving instructions. They want that at home, at least to think, for them to think freely, to think creatively, and it's working. At home, my home is a huge mess in my eyes, but in my son's eyes it is different. He likes it. He likes it this way. He knows where exactly his particular toy is in this mess. So if we are living together, so we need to accommodate that also. So it is a place for him to be very creative without routines, without anything. So that way, I feel that he is in his zone, very safe and secured at home. He likes to be at home, and he likes to, however long he likes to be at home, he likes to work on his own Lego or whatever in his own time. He takes his own time. He has a routine. He builds his own routine. This time is Lego time. It came to him automatically without any instructions by me. When I ask him, what are you playing now? He says, now I will play this, and now I will do drawing. So he has his set routine, which automatically it builds. So we have to allow that for children, is what I feel. Don't control them as parents. It's very, very, very important for us to step really down. Just the basic safety, if we give, that's enough. Apart from that, our duty, what I feel, is to have minimal influence on them. And I'm trying that, and I hope it'll work.
That was wonderful, Sobi. And your mother being an educator and you being an educator, have you discussed about these, educational philosophies in different places and the changes it is happening?
When I stepped into teaching in India, my mother just gave me one advice. I did not take many advice, or she didn't. She didn't lecture me, or she didn't give me anything. When I stepped into teaching, I asked her how it will be, and she just told me one thing. There are different people in this teaching industry, and there are many women in this teaching industry. She didn't tell me how to teach children or not. With children, she was very confident that I will be very comfortable. But with teachers, she gave me one advice. There will be a lot of things happening around teachers. There will be a lot of politics or gossips that will be continuously going on. Don't go into that. She gave me that one diamond of advice, and I am following it till now. It's very helpful, and it's very important, I think, for every industry, I would say. But yeah, but it will be corporate. It won't get too personalized in corporate, but in teaching it will be personalized. There will be instances where, because you put a lot of personal effort there in teaching, so there will be a lot of instances where different things will be made to take personally. So we have to step back and see. So that was one thing I still follow what my mother says. And apart from that, recently, yeah, we do a lot of talk related with my exposure to international curriculum, with my exposure to active learning and all the things. When I discuss, it's that She did her teaching education back, way back. So what I feel that she doesn't terminologize. She whatever teaching model she is following, I just put a terminology to it when we discuss. I say that, okay, this is functional way of teaching what you are doing, and I we discuss on that. And I really tell her to do a lot of active learning and reflection. She's still teaching, she's still working in a school. So when we discuss, I we discuss in terms of, please give a lot of experiences to your children, and we discuss in that front, and she does that, and she gives me feedback on that also, and she gives me pictures, and it's still happening. And it's beautiful when we sync in the same direction. And it's sometimes, as parents, or earlier, they might have thought, okay, what would she know, she's just a kid, why should I get inputs from her? All that barrier even she broke, and she takes a lot of input from me, and that way two-way communications beautifully happen. And growth mindset, we both have that growth mindset. So it's beautiful to have somebody in the same profession who is taking advice from your younger generation and implementing it and sharing inputs based on that. So parallelly, when I grow, my family circle, my mother, my father, everybody are growing, which is also very beautiful, to see everybody grow as a family together. And it's very surprising that even we resonate a lot together. Whatever growth phase that I am in the same family we are, and we are growing together, which is bringing us together, I feel, which is really, really, uh, I don't know, it's a divine connection.
True. I just want to share that Sowparnika is my cousin, and we grew together, but we personally did not connect with each other because I was a free spirited child then, and I was like looked upon weird, and I was quite elder to them. I was not in sync with any of my cousins, but now when I talk with a lot of you, I could see almost all of us are doing alternative methods of education, or now we are like years apart, we are able to connect with each other with this parenting and education. And I think that is so beautiful that we are evolving out together, whether we live in India or in different part of the country. At least the parenting phase, I'm so happy that all of us are taking it, like taking it in a way how it is taking us, how it is guiding us, is what I would say. And you have had experience in a wonderful school, and not everybody would get an opportunity for doing that based on their geographical or financial or whatsoever reasons. So what would you suggest to parents who wants themselves to connect more with the children? You have already shared a lot of inputs, but if you could, make some crisp points or some spoilers, straight forward, it would be nice.
Yeah, I'm telling this for all the mothers. Follow your instinct. But it's very challenging, it's not easy. And I'm saying it very upfront, people will not allow you to follow your instinct. It's very difficult because people around us, they will have a lot of experience, so they will have a lot of inputs to give. But that's okay, it's their experiences. So like Buddha said, whatever you experience, that is true to you. So you experience everything fully, and even we will make a lot of mistakes. With trial and error only we will learn. So when your instinct says that, my child is not hungry at this time, but still my mom is forcing my child to eat, tell it politely, or say in a way, or just manage in a way that, okay, that's okay, leave him. But follow that instinct. Don't follow it consistently, but at that moment, follow it. And next day, the routine might change. Next day, he might be hungry at that time, or he might not be hungry at that time. Follow your instinct at that time. At that time, you might be working, but you needed your parents' support. So you might not be able to follow your instinct at that time. That's fine. That's fine. Let whatever happen, let it happen. but you followed your instinct for one moment. Give a pat on your back and then do your work. You might not be able to balance without support, without your mother's support or your husband's support. Your instinct will say something and your husband's instinct will say something. One moment you would be able to follow, one moment you would not be able to follow. That's fine. That's completely fine. You're allowing somebody else to follow their instinct. You have to do that also. So you have to have win-win with everybody around you. We cannot grow alone in this world. We have to grow together. So at some time you will win, at many times you will lose, but that's fine. You're losing with your own son, you're losing with your own husband, you're losing with your own parents, you're getting lost with your father, mother. That's fine. Your ego will hurt, but that's how we grow. It's okay for our ego to get hurt. Shut your ego down and just go. And sometimes you will make a mistake. People will not understand. That's fine. Start developing that tolerance. You think, okay, people is not understanding. That's fine. Let them not understand, but still I will grow. Let's not put blame on the surroundings, or let's not blame anybody. Internally, let's keep on changing, and let's keep on working on our internal progress, and let's keep on increasing our intuitive power. Then slowly, when things happen, things will happen your way. People around you will start changing, and they will never question you. They will in fact come and ask you what to do. So it's very challenging, but do it consistently. We have managed pregnancy, we have managed breastfeeding, we have managed a lot of hurdles. This is something that we will be able to manage. And that is how a lot of us are already doing. So when I say free spirited way of living, it was not easy at all for me. People around me would ask, okay, why he is eating at 10 o'clock in the morning, why he is eating at 12 o'clock in the morning, or why he is whatever thing. At that point, if you feel that, that is fine. If you feel that that is okay, that is okay. Just leave it there. And as mothers and as women especially, we take in a lot of guilt feeling. Just completely remove that. Don't be guilty of whatever. It's easier said than done. I know that. But give that guilt feeling to anybody who you believe. It could be any faith. It could be just the cosmos. Just give that guilt feeling to anybody. And in your heart, just feel, okay, now I don't have any guilty. I gave it to whatever technique. Just follow it. It is hard, but try. Try to come away from that guilty feeling. It's fine if you're being very assertive at some time. It's fine. At that moment it was needed. At that moment your intuition told that it was needed. That's why you reacted that way. That's fine. And now later, if you feel that you are sorry, ask that sorry. Ask that sorry to that your own child. And for as mothers, I don't think we will have that ego feeling to ask sorry to our child. We might have some ego issues to ask sorry to somebody else, but not with our child. So ask that sorry to your child and just move on, keep moving on, and keep following your instincts. And slowly, the surroundings will definitely change. I was obviously, if you see, even my lifestyle, I was in India for 3 years. And then when I started even thinking to follow this free spirited lifestyle, it moved me to a different place where I can follow this lifestyle. So things will automatically start happening, but the change should happen from us. So if that change happens from within, magic will happen around us. So consistently make sure that you're following your instinct no matter what. If you're not able to follow also, that's fine. Somebody else is following their instincts. So that's completely fine. So this is something that it might resonate with at least a few of them.
Absolutely. Because when we don't have the clarity, it doesn't take us anywhere. We would have a lot of, wishes and objectives and goals, but A lot of times we don't have a clarity on how to go about it. So it's like trust the process,
Yes,
trust in your instincts, as Savi said. I think that is very important for all of us, whether we are a parent or we are not a parent, but trusting that everything that is happening is helping us, would take us places where we wanted to go. Thank you
definitely.
so much, Sabi, for your beautiful words. And is there any concluding words that you would like to share with the audience?
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Kritika, because the way we resonated, that was completely very much magical. When you have that mindset, the right people will come to you in the right time. So that I found it very magical, when we are having that similar mindset, we talk to people with similar mindset. We pacify ourselves by listening to their own stories, by listening to each other's experiences, which is making us grow together. So, like I said, change from within and be confident in your process. You don't need to justify to anybody. Just consistently be confident with your change process within you, and slowly it will manifest in its own way. And then people around us will automatically come together, and people who are not meant to be together will slowly shed away. So just working ourselves within, it will make magic. It will connect people in the right time, in the right way, which is happening right now as a proof. So anybody who is watching, please have this in mind alone. When you're changing from within, you will connect to people who are as beautiful as you. So start that process.
Thank you so much, Sabi.
Thank you so much.